Room 237 is a Jumperscape audio production. You've entered a place of fear and dread. Welcome to Room 237.
Hello and welcome once again into Room 237.
Yay.
Last week we saw the conclusion of Chucky Month, and now it's time for Maxine quarter of a month.
Yeah, because I haven't seen X, so we wanted to watch X before we went to watch Maxine. So that's what we watched this week. X came out in 2022. It was filmed in 2020. COVID, yay.
COVID year.
Yay. And
We're still seeing the long-term ramifications.
It was written and directed by Ty West and had a budget of $1 million, which is absolutely bonkers to me.
No, that's the craziest fact I've ever heard, because
It looks like a film that had a big budget.
the thing is, it doesn't on purpose.
Right. But I'm not talking about exactly it's the makeup effects. The special effects in this movie make it look like a higher budget film. The old people look too insane. Like, half of this budget had to go to just those effects on Mia Goth as Pearl, right?
I think genuinely it did. Most of the budget probably went to both the makeup and prosthetics, but the kills.
Yes, because the kills look good too.
And all that good stuff.
Yeah, like that dead cow looks like a real dead cow. I really hope that's not a real
Maybe
dead
it
cow.
is real dead cow.
No, it's not, because I saw PETA in the credits.
PETA was in the credits?
Yeah, PETA's in the credits of most every movie that has animals in it. You haven't noticed that before?
No, do they have to approve?
Yeah.
I'm shocked they do approve anything.
Yeah. That's why they don't actually kill animals for movies half the time. Most of the time.
That's a good point.
Because PETA checks them and then they give them their approval.
Okay.
But yeah. So this was a great movie.
No, this is a really fun one. It's weird because it is a slasher in a way.
It is a slow burn slasher, though.
But it is most definitely an A24 movie.
Oh yeah, but it's great. A24 and I have a complicated history.
Yes, you do.
On this podcast, and I loved this movie. Girls are pretty. I think that might be it. Girls are pretty.
Ashton doesn't even remember the plot of the movie.
I really do. I genuinely did enjoy this movie.
Admiring Mia Goth's makeup.
Okay, that is going to be a point here because I need her makeup from this movie. It doesn't come off. It doesn't come off. She jumps in the water.
This is the 70s. There's probably paint.
Yeah, 70s makeup still came off.
You know? I'm just making things up, okay? You're supposed to disprove me.
But seriously, she jumps in the water. Her makeup doesn't come off. It doesn't even smudge. Then she gets out of the water. It's still fine. She films a whole movie scene. X-rated movie scene. And it's still fine. No smudging. I'm just saying, most of the time your makeup smudges in those situations.
To be fair, we do get several sections of her touching up or doing her makeup.
Fair, but not enough for how good it looks.
Fair enough.
And she falls asleep in it. And it's still fine.
Yeah, it looks a little smudgy towards the end of the movie.
But it's still basically perfect.
Well,
I need her makeup.
Well, I'm not a makeup judge.
I need it. But anyway, overall thoughts on the movie is that I loved it. Fun fact before we get into everything. So Ty West is our writer and director. And so they filmed this movie in New Zealand. And New Zealand was better at COVID than we were. And so if you came to the country from another country, you had to quarantine for 2 weeks in case you had COVID, right? Right. So during his 2-week quarantine to start filming this movie, he wrote the prequel Pearl and gave it to them. And before they even wrapped up filming X, they greenlit Pearl. They're like, oh, we don't even know how this movie's gonna do yet. Do a prequel.
Pretty please.
Just do a prequel. But I feel like that's A24.
Yeah, A24, I think, only picks up projects that they have a lot of faith in, to be fair.
Well, they had every reason to have a lot of faith in this because not only did I love this movie, I'm super excited for Maxine. That movie looks amazing.
I still haven't even seen a trailer.
I've only seen pieces and parts of a trailer. I don't like watching movie trailers anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those people who watches the trailer and immediately goes, oh, this is how the movie's going to end. And then I either get really disappointed or I read the entire script like a book from the trailer.
Quick random side tangent. I think that's the biggest problem with media consumption today is people will watch a trailer, either A, have unrealistic expectations from that trailer and have their whole what they want to happen in the movie set up in their head, or B, will immediately it'll just be a bad trailer and they'll just immediately discount the movie. And both
no, we need to go back to trailers. We need to go
ugh.
back in time, and our trailers need to have less of the movie in them. Because it used to be that the trailer was really just a mystery thing to draw you in. Nowadays, they just show you basically the entire movie in the trailer. Half the time, it has the best parts of the movie in the trailer, and it ruins the entire film.
Well, when I think of a good example, I think back to Chucky Month Child's Play 2's trailer. It's literally just Chucky stepping on a Jack in the Box saying, sorry, Jack, Chucky's back. And then it just does a quick cut of a bunch of random moments in the movie. And then it's Child's Play 2 coming to theaters. And
well, that's how
trailers should be.
That's how they used to be. And I don't know. And maybe in the horror genre, it's different. I don't watch a lot of horror trailers because I already had gotten into the routine of not watching trailers for movies after Marvel's Endgame. Shocker that's the trailer that ruined my trailer watching.
Well, in horror, and I guess most movie genres in general, the era of the trailer breakdown has really torn apart what trailers do. Because there's people who straight up can actually go into a decent, not much context trailer, be like, if you look in the background, you can see this character. I'm assuming that this reaction's not actually in this scene, and it's actually this person reacting to this person's death.
Yeah.
And then they're right. It's
that's
wild.
exactly what I do to trailers. That's what I do all the time to trailers to any kind of movie. And that's why I don't watch trailers anymore. So I've only seen the quick TikTok ones for this movie, and I am so excited. And Mia Goth is so pretty. Can I stress this again? Mia Goth.
Man, Ashton's gonna go to Sephora, try and find some blue eyeshadow. I'm gonna shave
my eyebrows.
She's gonna shave her eyebrows, and one day she's gonna go to the salon, the beauty salon. She's gonna be like, "Can you give me the Mia Goth haircut?"
No. I won't do that, but I do really like Mia Goth and James.
Me?
Can Mia Goth be my hall pass?
Do you want me to end up like RJ in this movie?
No.
But yeah, I don't want to end up like RJ in
James, let's be so for real. When am I running into Mia Goth
You never know.
and seducing her?
You never know.
I think if I ran into Mia Goth, I'd be like, "Oh my god, you're so pretty." Hi.
Just saying. I don't believe in hall passes.
Well, that sucks because I do.
Oh, it's the upstairs.
That was the upstairs.
We're like, Austin, are you
We're
coming
both
down?
ready for Austin to come into the studio, which has gotten a remodel since we were in here last.
Yes, it feels more like I'm in a studio.
It also kind of has a spooky vibe right now.
Yeah, a little bit.
So it's kind of going for us. It's kind of going for us. I like it.
Kind of behind me, I guess it might have a little
Well,
bit
it's
of a
the lighting.
spooky-
Normally we got a little natural light going on. There's no natural light going on in here anymore.
Now it's dark.
and we're
dank.
one light.
One light.
One singular. I looked directly at it and that hurt. One singular non-LED
Fluorescent.
light.
Oh boy.
Okay, so James,
Yeah.
how many strung up men with a really decomposed dicks do you give this movie?
I give this movie a solid 8.5 dead guys strung up with rotting dick out of 10.
All right. I think I give this movie a 9.
9 what?
Strung up men with a decomposing dick. Kitty!
What a surprise. Well, if there's one thing that we know is that a cat can completely derail our train of thought. Anyway, from
Let's get
here
into
on,
this movie.
there's spoilers ahead.
Spoilers!
Woo!
Spoilers.
Try and do this dead meat style. So the movie opens up and then with a shot of a house and there's people dead. And how does he do that? Probably because it's scripted. But
Yeah, they script more than we do. But it does. It opens up on this farmhouse and it's filmed not in the widescreen style, but in the old. What's the ratio for that?
4.43
Yeah, the old 4:3.
aspect. Well, that's the thing. It looks like it's in 4:3 aspect ratio.
But then it opens into widescreen.
Because you're in the barn. The barn doors in the barn. It's like
Yeah.
blurring out the door enough that it looks like you're in an different aspect ratio.
It completely started in that aspect ratio.
But that was the effect, was that it was the barn door that you were, because you were in, the camera was in the barn facing the house.
Oh. I guess I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it slowly unblurred and you could see that that's where you were. And that's why it looked like that. But anyway.
I think I was IMDb'ing.
They do
so I
that
must have missed
thing
it.
where you see the crime scene of the movie you're about to watch before you watch the movie, which I always like that. I always think it's fun. But at the same time, I'm like, well, you're just giving it away. If people die in this movie, that's crazy.
But yeah, so we saw the crime scene and then we flash immediately to Mia Goth getting ready,
Doing cocaine.
doing cocaine.
I'll say, yeah, she's doing cocaine.
She do be doing
She is getting
cocaine.
ready, but we have a long shot of her getting the line ready.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, the cat is meowing and it's distracting me.
That cat is meowing.
Yeah.
Kitty.
Did you close the door behind you?
No, I don't think so.
Because she could be meowing at the door that she can't get through.
We'll keep talking.
Okay. Sorry. So yeah, she's getting ready. She looks all pretty. She looks all 70s pretty, which is my favorite aesthetic. And doing cocaine, of course. That's very important. Because how are we supposed to know that she's filming a movie in the 70s if she's not doing lines of cocaine? Because I don't think there's a good way to show that if someone's not doing lines of cocaine. And her producer comes in, who I was just looking up who he's played by. That's the other thing with this budget and their like star-studded cast. Like it's a genuine shocker that this budget's only $1 million. Like they must have all taken this job as like a charity job or something. Because there's no way they got paid their normal wage.
Well, you got to keep in mind, in 2020, a lot of these actors were not that big.
I was just looking up the producer.
At the time, Jenna Ortega was only in You.
Yeah, but she also had Disney money. So she had to expect at least post-Disney wage.
Yeah, what was she in Disney for?
She did a whole bunch of stuff for Disney.
Like Disney Channel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, she did a whole bunch of Disney Channel stuff. She was on Disney around the same time as Olivia Rodrigo.
Well, this was also probably one of those,
do the artsy film
or get into the adult market,
yeah,
not literal adult market, but you know what I mean.
I feel like she got into the adult market with You, so she had to
a bit, but she was definitely major side character.
Yeah,
because she's in season 2, and I think bits of season 3, and she's very much just kind of a side hyperfixation for Joe. And man, I hate that show. I think I just hate that show because no matter how much they try and pretend, they don't try and make you like Joe. They still try and make you like Joe.
What?
She's very confused about something.
This cast list says Karen Gillan was in this movie.
This movie?
It says Radio Steak.
What? No, she wasn't. We would have recognized her immediately.
I think it was voice. It says Radio Steak Cell something. I don't know.
So a little cameo, maybe?
Yeah, so maybe she voiced something or something?
Like one of the voices on the radio, probably?
Yeah.
Oh,
what the heck?
Cameo, I guess. Cameos are usually for free.
Right, but
for fun.
Does Karen know Ty West or so? She must know him.
I guess so.
She must know him. And this also was COVID. So she was probably bored.
She's probably bored in her house and they're like, hey, we're in New Zealand. Do you want to say this? Yeah, sure.
Martin Henderson, though, is a big name. I feel like I've seen him in a whole fuck ton of stuff. Could I name the big movie that I know him from? No. But I know him. Is he in that Ozark show?
Probably.
Is that what I recognize him from? I'm finding out right now. My phone's at 16%. And my internet's
with Ashton.
Barely working. Oh, he was in Virgin River. That's how I know him. Because my mom's obsessed with Virgin River. Oh, he was a love interest in Grey's Anatomy. That's why I really, really recognize him.
Man, you should have known him right off the rip. That's like the white woman show.
Okay, here's the thing. I mainly know Grey's Anatomy stuff from my mother and sister watching it. Then me watching the first 3 seasons and losing interest when Christina leaves. And now, any new seasons of Grey's Anatomy, I strictly consume through TikTok.
We're doomed as a generation.
Strictly consume through TikTok. So,
considering there's people who have the entire plot of Young Sheldon through just TikTok.
Yeah, I have watched bits and pieces of Young Sheldon. But I honestly started losing interest in watching the actual show because I was like, I can get the whole plot from TikTok anyway. It's so bad. It's so bad. But I have started watching US's Ghosts, and that show keeps my attention the whole time. So
US's Ghost? USA Network?
No. Like Ghosts, the comedy show, was originally a UK show.
Oh.
It's like The Office. Do you watch UK Office or US Office?
Neither.
Well, yeah, I know that about you, but like
I'm not huge on sitcoms or whatever you'd call The Office.
It's a sitcom. But so is Ghosts, and I love that show. I think you'd like Ghosts too. It's funny. Have you not consumed that through TikTok?
No.
It's the show where
my parents watch it.
They do?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, this is so exciting. I can't wait to talk to them about Ghosts. I love this show. It's fantastic. There's a whole character who died in the 80s, and basically half the first season, all he offers to the plot is adding 80s context to every single scenario they're in. So when the show first starts and these ghosts are trying to haunt the new people in the house, he's like, you should hum the song from the movie Ghost, and that'll scare them. And the rest of these ghosts who don't know what the 80s is are like, what the hell are you talking?
Like the Patrick Swayze movie?
Yes.
Sometimes I think about the pottery.
He was talking about the pottery scene. He was talking about the song for the pottery scene. I love that movie. Patrick Swayze, if he were still alive, would also be on my hall pass list. I love Patrick Swayze. God rest his soul.
Anyway, the movie X.
How did I even get here? I don't even remember.
I left you to talk for like 20 minutes and I come back down. Not even 20 minutes, but you know. Yeah, so they all work a strip club called the like Bayou Burlesque or something in the middle of a factory yard in Houston.
That doesn't look like Houston, but that's because this is filmed in New Zealand.
They're trying to. It is obviously green screened, but at the same time, I get the vibe. They're trying to go for 70s Houston before all the jobs left.
Yeah, and I think that's why. I think though, because it's got that like retro 70s, like you're trying to get that kind of vibe. I think that's why the sun doesn't seem weird.
The sun?
Yeah, because they're on the other side of the world. So the sun's in the wrong place.
Ah.
But it's still...
I never noticed that in movies. It
still gives Texas. I always notice it in movies. I always can tell. I'm like, this isn't filmed inside the U.S. because the sun always is wrong. I could barely tell in this movie. I wouldn't have known had I not read IMDb before we started because... I think it's the 70s vibe thing because they're trying to get that like vintage color.
There's a massive Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of influence going on here.
Absolutely. The movie influencers are crazy in this movie. But yeah, so the
house looks almost identical.
Oh yeah, it has
the hallway is the same.
It's the door shots.
Yeah.
The door shots are specifically Texas Chainsaw Massacre inspired. Because the whole time he's knocking and looking in the door and it does the shot from the inside, I'm thinking, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I
remember this.
I remember watching this movie.
Do you guys remember this movie? It was our first episode.
Yeah, we did not do it as good a justice as we could have.
Probably not, but we were trying.
We were trying really hard. We were learning.
We had to start somewhere.
And we started with Texas Chainsaw Massacre because I really wanted to see that movie at the time. But so after they get all ready, they head out to go film their adult film, which is where actually the title of this movie comes from.
X,
because it's an X-rated film, specifically because X-rated films were a huge problem in the 70s because they'd literally just show pornography at movie theaters. And yeah, so they head off into the suburbs of Houston. And they actually stop at this gas station that I want to mention because the name of the gas station is The Peddler, which is a reference to another of West's films called The Innkeepers that was set at the Yankee Peddler Inn.
Well, that's deep.
Yeah.
I thought it's because they peddled snacks and cigarettes.
It was a reference the whole time. Ain't it crazy?
Yeah, but essentially their whole plan is they're going to go film an X-rated movie somewhere. The Mr. Man, whose name's escaping me, the Matthew McConaughey looking one, who kind of also looks like the president from Independence Day.
Yeah, the guy who's Meredith Gray's love interest.
Yes.
Martin Henderson, and in this movie, his name is Wayne Gilroy.
Wayne Gilroy.
I don't know. They don't use each other's names that much in this movie.
No, they don't.
So it's going to be real easy for me to just go Mia Goth or describing the character's aspects for everyone to understand who I'm talking about, because they really don't use names that much. I think the only person whose name I really heard in this movie was
Maxine.
And I already forgot about it. Well, I knew Maxine and Lorraine. Lorraine really got her name used a lot, which is Church Mouse.
Yes, which Church Mouse is so much more fun.
I like Church Mouse. That was such a cute nickname for her. Yeah. I liked it.
So we have our little crew in their van, and the van has plowing service on it. And so you have Jackson, who's the male star.
Yep.
He's played by Kid Cudi of all people.
And James goes, "Did you know that's Kid Cudi?" I'm like, I don't even know who Kid Cudi is. And he says, "Do you not know, like, you don't know Kid Cudi?" And I was like, okay, like, I've heard the name, but I wouldn't recognize his face. Like, I don't.
No, you pulled out the old person phrase. I wouldn't recognize him from Adam.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I've started saying that a lot. I say that a lot. I've had people look at me and go, "What the fuck does that mean?" And I'm like, like, you wouldn't recognize them from another, like, you wouldn't recognize them. That's what that means. God.
But anyway, we have, man, I already forgot his name again. Wayne Gilroy, who looks like Matthew McConaughey a little bit. And he's like the not the director, he's the producer.
I for a second thought he was one of the, what are the two brothers' names? Ka-chow.
Wilson?
Yeah, I thought he was the other Wilson brother.
No.
For a second, with long hair. The one that was in Legally Blonde.
But
he looks like he could be a Wilson.
And we have Maxine, of course. Mm-hmm. And then there's the blonde one.
The blonde one played by Brittany Snow.
And then there's RJ, who's the insufferable indie movie maker, who's like, "Oh, my ticket into filmmaking will be directing this porn." I mean, Wes Craven. Is he
wrong? Is that not a way to get into filmmaking? Especially when X-rated films are being shown in theaters.
Yeah. Well, and then you have,
and it seems like
Lorraine,
he wrote the script too.
Who's his girlfriend / boom mic holder, and her nickname is Church Mouse because she has a cross necklace and is quiet.
Yeah. And they're gonna film this film. They're on their way to film this film called The Farmer's Daughter, which was a real X-rated film released in 1976. That was a really big deal because it starred Spalding Gray, who was like a big name at the time.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not very good on my porn history.
I'm just really good at reading IMDb, actually. But so that's some interesting history.
I wonder if it's
there.
Similar to what they filmed in the movie.
I do too. And considering what I know just from this film, from Ty West, like, it probably is pretty, I mean, it's an adult film. That's probably pretty close to the plot.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, what else
I wonder
is
if
the plot supposed to be.
I don't know. I was like wondering maybe down like to the demographics and appearances.
It could be. It really genuinely could be.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Stay close, stranger. The room awaits you after these messages.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. If it's free, maybe I'll look at it. Just out of curiosity.
Anyway. But they are traveling down this Texas road, and they come across police guiding some traffic, and they go, oh, that's an awfully big accident. And this truck had run into a cow, and its guts were all over the road and stuff. And Mia Goth throws up.
Yeah, it's pretty much just to show the cops he saw earlier. Yeah. Honestly, that's pretty much the only reason for it.
And
a little foreshadowing.
So we could get some foreshadowing and see some blood and guts and stuff.
Yeah, a little shock value.
A little blood and guts. Looks really good.
They do eventually get there, and the man who comes to the door is very old and very interesting. We get our first glimpses. We don't get like a full look at him of, I think his name's Howard.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Howard.
But they don't actually use old actors, like elderly actors in these roles. They are younger actors made up to look old.
Grotesquely
old.
Because the point of this movie is to point out to you how you feel, kind of like, it's to point out to people how we kind of feel about old people, how they kind of gross us out.
Yeah. And like I think that's what the movie is definitely going for, like your reaction of ugh, and then to go, ha, that's exactly the problem. Like,
right. And I mean, I feel and it's especially old people. It's especially about old people being seen in a sexual way.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is a problem that is, since this movie came out, has become less of an issue, honestly. Because if you think about how we talk about old people and having sex, I feel like that's been more of a regular thing to talk about
Neck
recently.
Your grandma.
Yeah. I mean, that's not exactly the example I was looking at. I mean, think about how non-taboo it is to talk about STD rates in nursing homes now.
Well, I didn't know it was taboo. So there's something.
It used to be. Like, there's a reason it didn't used to be brought up and it didn't used to be shared. But STDs in nursing homes have been a problem for a really long time. So I think this is an issue that this movie covered, and then everyone went, oh shit, you're right. and then the world kind of healed itself.
It is a little weird for us just to be so like grossed out by it.
Old people
having
sex lives. Like, they're not allowed or something?
In the case of this old couple, maybe. But yeah, he immediately answers the door with a shotgun in hand. And he's basically like, my name's Wayne. We talked on the phone. I'm from Houston. And I'm like, part of my brain was always just thinks, wouldn't it be really funny if he did just shoot him right here?
Well, he says the gun's not loaded.
Yeah.
Which is a lie.
It's probably a lie.
We realized later, very much a lie.
Well, you can always load a gun later. So.
Right, but I'm pretty sure it was a lie. And we also get the reveal here that, because Wayne says, oh, I do the same thing. I got a revolver with the same thing, where he keeps the gun for show, but he doesn't keep it loaded.
Foreshadowing.
This is a context clue this is a clue that may help us later.
It's a secret mouse tool that will help us later.
But yeah, so he finally convinces Howard that everything's fine and he's gonna go stay at his guest house. And it becomes very much clear, if it wasn't already, that Wayne did not tell Howard what he planned to use his guest house for.
No. And he makes that clear, like, pretty much right off rip after they're let in, because the first question is basically like, that man doesn't know why we're here, does he?
Yeah.
And he's like, and he ain't got to know.
Right.
I intend to keep it that way. Like, could you imagine renting out your Airbnb and then seeing it on Pornhub later?
I'm absolutely certain that happens all the time.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm absolutely certain that happens all the time. Not gonna say anything else to that.
Absolutely certain? It sounded like there was a story.
Nope. No stories. So, have you looked at Pornhub titles?
No. Are they usually Airbnb
Pornhub
involved?
titles will say, like, fucked tight pussy in Airbnb, like
Fucked my Tinder date stepsister in the Airbnb.
In Airbnb
on family vacation.
Girl screams in Airbnb. Like those are, yeah.
Damn, to think we used to have titles like Farmer's Daughter, and now we get stuff like that.
Yeah.
Compilation.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so,
this movie is very about porn in a lot of ways, so it's hard not to talk about it. As awkward as it kind of is to talk about it into a microphone.
Yeah. But so they immediately decide it's time to get down to business, which is when we immediately had to turn down the TV volume.
Yep, because they immediately start shooting a scene, and it was way louder than I thought it would be. And I'm like, and Austin's upstairs working, so I'm like, maybe we should turn this down, because it's a bit gratuitous, at least audio wise.
Audio wise, yeah. Everything else.
For a movie, it is more than your usual sex scene.
For a movie about porn, though, that's a lot less than I thought I'd be seeing.
That's fair. Well, I mean, it can't literally be.
Right.
There's like laws.
But, yeah. But, like, I guess it was filmed more conservatively than you would think for a movie about porn.
Yeah.
The angles are less... I've seen worse in Bridgerton.
Well,
a lot worse in Bridgerton.
Well, I haven't seen it, so
there you go.
But yeah, so they immediately get into it, and this is where we see Pearl for the first time.
Yep.
Because she's just kind of standing up at the house staring at Mia Goth while Mia Goth she goes for a swim first.
Yes.
No, wait, she waves and then goes for a swim.
Yeah.
I'm getting my orders.
No. So Mia Goth. So actually, before they even went to the guest house, Mia Goth saw Pearl staring in the window at her. So then Mia Goth decides to take a smoke break and walk down to this little pond.
But she does see Pearl up by the house again before she walks.
Before she walks down, but she doesn't wave yet. And she goes for a little dip in the pool, and this is where my first note of the movie came from. That is, thank God 70s makeup is so waterproof.
Yeah. Oh, and when she's floating in the pool, we see Chekhov's alligator.
He's coming after her.
He's really big.
Yeah.
God, that's a fucking large alligator.
Yeah.
But yeah, it almost gets her. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, he does almost get her, but she jumps out of the water.
Notices.
Yeah, she doesn't even notice. Oh, but we do see Pearl. I think this is where you're getting confused, because
Pearl's
she
like
doesn't
watching.
She doesn't see Pearl at the house before she leaves. She goes to the water, and then we see Pearl
like following her.
follow her. And it's such a it's shot really well because it kind of looks like you're just looking at the path behind her, like ominously, like it's a horror movie. And then you start like kind of seeing this like white thing move.
Yeah.
Because it's Pearl's hair, and you're like, oh, it's just a trick of the light. And then you're like, wait a minute, that's a human person.
But the way that Mia Goth moves in the Pearl like get up is so unsettling. She's so like, I don't know how to describe it with words. You know, kind of like I'm doing a thing.
It's very much like they're very much caricatures of old people.
Yeah.
So she moves like a caricature of an old person. And I think that's why like they seem so frightening, because you don't understand how they get from place to place so quickly. Because they move so slowly.
But at the same time, it feels like they just kind of disappear sometimes.
And then appear. Yeah.
Ooh.
It's probably because they just move at the average speed of a person, but the movie is making them move. They're acting slow with their movements.
Yeah. But then she sees Pearl outside the house and she starts waving her in. Like,
yeah, so she goes up to the house and meets Pearl, and Pearl offers her a lemonade.
Lemonade.
Yeah. To which Mia Goth gets to look around in the house a little bit when she decides to go back, and she sees pictures of Pearl younger, and she stares at them for a minute because obviously Pearl looks exactly like her.
Almost, it's literally identical.
Is literally identical to her. But that's not the plot point of this movie.
That's a plot point of the other movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, then she kind of, you know, touches on her and stuff. It's a bit weird.
And so Mia runs.
Yeah, she's like, what do you think you're doing?
Yeah.
But then Howard comes home and she's like, it'll be our little secret. You better go now.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird. Like, Pearl, I just kind of feel bad for her half the time, and the other time she's like a very scary lady.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell she's just, it's that old person loneliness to the max, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, but we know there's something up with her.
No, yeah.
Something less than
Her libido didn't die when it should have.
I don't know if that's what's up with her. I think the murder might be the real issue here, but that's okay.
That too.
But so Mia Goth goes back, and it's time for her to film her scene. And evidently, she's the best porn star anyone's ever seen ever.
Yeah.
Because
even
everyone's
Pearl
like in awe.
Because she was watching through the window.
Everyone is standing there in awe afterwards.
They're all like, and afterwards, like, she getting all the praise, or like, it's like, I see why you left your wife for her. Like,
yeah. Which is hilarious.
And this is when we get our little, basically I would call it our igniting event, the thing that splits everyone up, basically, you know, to, you know, get murdered.
Well,
and that is Church Bunny, or Lorraine, as they're talking.
Church Mouse
Bunny.
God, get her name right.
Sorry. Jeez. She has questions, basically, and she's just saying, like, how can y'all screw in when you love someone else? And
they're basically like, it's a movie, it's just pretend.
Exactly. And, you know, she hears all this and she's like, well, I want to be in the movie.
And her boyfriend's like, no.
And he, you know, he should have honestly just said, I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable with it, instead of saying, like, making it like, well, it's my movie and I don't want you in it.
Well, the reason he's not comfortable with it, that so he goes out to talk to Wayne in a
Yeah.
second, and he says she's different than those girls. What I picked up on that is she's different than those girls because she hasn't had sex before.
Ooh, I didn't pick that up.
I picked up on that. What he meant by that was she's a virgin and they're not. That's why he was so hurt and upset.
Even without that, I'd say it'd be fair to be hurt and upset.
I mean, yeah, but that's like why it was to that level, because she was a virgin. Was what I picked up on.
Yeah. This whole
picked up on
situation just kind of sucks.
Yeah. We also forgot to mention that there was a cool little montage right before this that had like a split screen with Brittany Snow singing isn't that Landslide?
I mean, you were singing it.
Yeah.
You were singing along.
I think that's pretty sure that's Landslide by Fleetwood Mac. And I love this song. This whole movie is my Spotify. And we get like a split screen with Pearl like getting ready and going to bed. And it's kind of really beautiful.
Yeah.
And at points the split screen becomes both Pearl, so it's just like a little line between a widescreen. So it was really beautifully put together. I thought it was marvelous. And that's why I had to bring it up for sure. But it's trying to show like how like the perception of what's the word I'm like looking for? I can't.
Beauty.
Yeah, kind of. Like we're supposed to see Pearl in kind of like a beautiful light while also seeing her like gross.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of like,
well, it makes you feel for her.
You feel for her, but you're also kind of grossed out at the same time.
Yeah.
Because this is not what an old person looks like. Disclaimer. If you've never seen old people before, they don't look like that.
Yeah, like
they look like people but old, not like monsters.
Yeah, they especially Howard. Howard literally looks like one of the creature people from like the
He looks like a shark.
Sure.
He looks like Bruce.
Sure, I guess.
It's his eyes. It's the eyes.
Yeah. I was more focused on his teeth being scary.
I see. But and same with Pearl. Like Pearl looks, I would almost argue Pearl looks almost more monstrous because they were trying harder to make her look scary old because Mia Goth is in the movie too.
Yeah.
Mia Goth is in the movie twice. But so yeah. So that's after this little montage is where we get where we get caught back up to what we were just talking about. And Wayne and RJ go in and the girls already started getting ready Lauren for her scene.
Yeah.
Which we all just decided we were going to do it right now too.
Yeah, seriously.
Like seriously?
And RJ's shoulders are just kind of slumped and he gets handed the camera.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
he starts crying.
I'm just like, damn.
Like
that's gotta suck.
He didn't even get a chance. Like I wanted him to get a chance to pull her aside and be like, if you want to have sex, we can have sex. Like
yeah, like, but he didn't even get like a chance to speak about it like privately.
Yeah.
He's just handed the camera and basically intimidated into doing it.
Right.
So, like, next we see of him, he's crying in the shower.
Which
fair. And you know he gets out of the shower and he's kind of in his righteous anger. He's gonna just leave them basically.
Yeah.
And
leave all of his equipment too.
And leave all of his equipment He's just leaving everything.
I wouldn't do that. I'd have been like, fine, fuck your movie.
And before we get what happens there, I just want to point out the fact that like when Lorraine wakes up, she's like, "Where's RJ?" Like, I hope he's not going to break up with me. I hope he's not mad. It's like, well, of course he's mad.
Of course,
I'm like,
upset,
I'm like, I hope he's not upset with me. It's like, what do you think was going to happen? You made him record you losing your virginity to some random guy in a movie.
I think from her perspective, that was her trying to like prove to him that she was ready for that.
It's still like the worst way to do it.
Right, but I think that's why she doesn't understand why he's upset. She thought they were going to go to bed and they were going to have sex that night. That's what she thought was going to happen.
Just saying, if I was in his shoes, I'd be in the van.
I mean, I understand, but from her, I get why she's like, oh my God, he left. Like, I hope he's not pissed with me. Like, I didn't realize that was her trying to show that to him. And without him getting to say, hey, no, let's just do that ourselves. She thought that he was like in on it.
He did not sound in on it.
Right. But she thought, I can see where I see where her character, I see where that's coming from. Where he's like, I think she felt in being against it, he was like fighting for her honor. And she was like, I don't care about my honor. I just want to get laid. And she thought she was playing on the jealous chord.
That's more than playing on the jealous chord.
Right, but that's what she thought she was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, she's young and a little naive. That's the whole point.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. So anyway, this prompts her to go looking.
Well, we haven't talked about what happened to RJ yet.
Oh yeah, that's right. Let's go to RJ.
He gets to the truck, the tire is slashed. No, not yet.
Not yet.
He gets to the truck, he turns it on, he starts driving away, and then Pearl's just in front of the car, standing there awkwardly. And he gets out and he's like, "Ma'am, are you all right, ma'am?" And it's very uncomfortable, but she tries to come on to him for a minute there. She's like, starts like removing her like gown. And she's like, I can show you how good I am. I can show you. And he's like, I'm okay. I don't need. He's like honestly being probably as nice as possible in this situation.
Yeah, he totally is. But the whole time, I don't know if you even heard me say it. The whole time she's standing with her arm behind, one of her arms behind her back.
Yeah.
And I go out loud. I go, knife.
Yeah. Because it was a knife.
Because it was a knife.
Because the second that he fully rejects her, she stabs him in the throat.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the violence in this movie when committed by the old people is so creepy.
Yeah.
Because it's weak.
Yeah.
Like she gets that initial jab in the neck, and then when she like basically straddles him on the ground and starts stabbing him in the neck over and over, it's so like weak and slow. It's like not even going halfway through his neck. Like, and she just starts laughing, and the blood starts spurting on the headlights, and it turns the lighting red.
Yeah.
Like,
really cool.
There's the turn of the movie.
Yes.
Like, there is a lot of Psycho references, including in the way that this movie is structured.
Yeah.
Because this is when the movie. This is your. They
quite literally reference it.
Yes.
Before this scene.
Because this is your Janet Leigh dying moment.
Yeah. They quite literally reference it before that scene even happens, where RJ says, well, the plot of that movie was a MacGuffin.
Yeah. Much like the plot of this movie was a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
But so then everyone starts waking up, basically. And by everyone, I mean, at this moment, it's just Lorraine and
Wayne.
And they're gonna go look for RJ because she's all worried, and he's like, she's distracting me.
Sorry.
And from this point on, the movie is basically just kill tension, kill tension, kill tension, kill tension. Like,
Yes.
so
Reference to another movie. Kill tension.
Lorraine goes up to the house and she finds Mr. Man Howard, and he's all, "What are you doing?" Like, he's like, "I can't find my wife." Like, and so they're teaming up in quotes to help find each other's spouses or significant others. And you never want to hear a man like Howard say, "I got another light. It's down in the cellar. Can you go get it for me?"
And she's like, "Yeah, sure. Of course."
Yeah, dumb. She got locked in the cellar.
Yeah.
Funny. Ha. Much better fate than Wayne so far, because Wayne pulls a Home Alone and steps on a nail in the barn.
Oh, and this is the only moment in the movie where I go, "Oh my God, no." The only
There's plenty of gross out moments in this movie, and this is the one that got Ashton to look away from the TV.
They show the nail like way before he steps on it. I go, "Oh no, oh God, no."
And it's like lit up too. I'm like, how did
you not see
Maybe
it?
not everyone's like me and looks at their feet when they walk, but
Well, one, not everyone has anxiety, and two, not everyone has stepped on a nail before.
That's true. I have both of those things.
You have both of those things.
But he steps on the nail, and then there's just like a bunch of movement happening from behind some like little holes in the siding, and like it's funny because you think you're gonna get like a little jump scare, and you kind of do.
You kind of do.
But he's just looking through the holes, and then suddenly, like some pitchfork goes through his eyes.
Well, you got to talk about how the whole scene happened, because it's like the way it sets up the suspense for a jump scare, because it shows us what he's seeing through the holes, and he's looking through all of them individually, and you're waiting to see something in them, and the camera goes back to looking just at him looking through the holes, and they all cover up, and he goes, "Huh?" And then bam, there's two like nails or something in his eyes.
It was a pitchfork.
Oh, a pitchfork. Duh.
And then it cuts I love this little sequence so much because it cuts back to Jenna Ortega. And that's when she's told to go to the cellar.
Yeah.
And when she opens the cellar door and pops on the light, right when she pulls on the string, it cuts back to the pitchfork getting yanked out and his eyeball being like flinging out of his skull.
It's so good.
And then this goes back to the creepy like weakness of the kills, because then Pearl just kind of walks into the barn and just starts poking him with it.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, ugh, there's just something creepy about it, you know?
It's
like
creepy.
Something about watching someone like get killed in a movie with like low effort.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like usually when someone's getting killed in a movie, it's very intense. It's very like full swing anger. But something about just seeing is very unsettling. But so you're thinking to yourself, maybe this is a little home defense, kind of thing. Like maybe Pearl's just losing her mind and Howard's actually a cool guy. He's just an old man who wants to find his wife.
Yeah.
But then she's locked in the cellar.
Yeah.
And you're like, uh-oh. And then on top of that, she's running around in the basement and she finds a light switch. She turns it on and there is a dead man strung up, completely naked, penis rotting, all the good stuff. And he's not anyone that was in the group at this point. So they've been up to stuff.
They definitely have been up to stuff. And there's a whole prequel about that too.
Yes, there is. But essentially, this is the Jenna Ortega has a chance to scream queen it up for a minute there.
Oh, yeah. My note here is actually now I know why Jenna is in all these horror movies. Like, now I get it. She's got the horror scream down pat. Absolutely down pat.
Stay close, stranger. The room awaits you after these messages.
So she starts freaking out, and that's when, like, the rest of the house... Oh, no. What's his name? Wakes up in the guest house.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Kin Cudi.
That's when he wakes up, and, he goes to just kind of, like, get a pick-me-up or something, goes into the fridge, and he pulls out a carton of milk and just starts drinking straight from the carton of milk, which, ew. But,
Been there.
Ew.
I like milk.
But on the carton of milk, we see a missing person ad, and it's the guy that was in the basement.
That's kind of hilarious.
Which was kind of cool. I was like, yeah, write that one down.
Yeah. But then, honestly, probably what follows is the most hilarious scene, in my opinion. And that's just, like, he goes to the door as Howard's approaching the cabin, and he just opens it.
Butt naked.
He's like, "Can I help you, mister?" Like,
yeah.
And it's funny because it's kind of implied as they're having their discussion, and like, "My wife's missing. I can't find her." She gets confused.
Yeah.
And then, like, right at the end of the conversation, when he basically is agreeing to go help him, you get a wide shot and you just see his dick fucking swinging.
And I just go, "Put your dick away, my dude."
But yeah, so Jackson, here's the thing.
Jackson served in Vietnam.
He served in Vietnam, but he also struck me as a smart guy.
Yeah.
Because he notices a car in the river in the
Psycho
pond.
reference.
Yes, definitely a psycho reference. He notices a car.
It's like
you
the
can
same
tell
kind
he
of
finds
car.
it unsettling, and he knows something's wrong.
Yeah.
But when he runs into Howard again, and Howard's like once a Marine, always a Marine. And like doing all this clearly antagonistic stuff.
Yeah.
Howard does not even attempt to defend himself.
You mean Jackson?
Jackson, sorry. Jackson does not even attempt to defend himself, because he just straight up turns the gun fairly slowly and shoots him in the chest.
Yeah.
And that's the end of Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, he kind of has the lamest death, I'd say.
Yeah. He definitely does.
He just gets shot.
Yeah. I think he was so caught up in, like, trying to figure out what was going on. When Howard started acting weird, he just is like, "Oh, he's an old man. He's being weird."
Yeah. But then that kind of leads to Pearl slipping into Maxine's bed.
Yeah.
And God, this is like a nightmare.
Yeah.
So we see that happen.
Yeah.
And then we get kind of a pretty darkly comedic scene. I would call it darkly comedic, honestly. And that's Jenna Ortega gets an axe and she breaks the door open.
Shining reference.
Definitely a Shining reference. And she's sticking her hand trying to unlock the door. And for some reason, I don't know why I find it funny, he just starts breaking her fingers. Like, I think it's just because her reaction is very, like, slapstick almost. Even though, like, it's played pretty straight.
Yeah.
I think it's just seeing this old man just
yeah.
He's like, "I told you to stay down in the cellar."
Well, I think he's, like, trying to save her.
No, they're trying to save her for something else. It's very much implied that they wanted to basically do whatever they did to Mr. Man downstairs to one of them.
Oh.
Yes. Because we'll get into it later, but there is a line that Pearl says where after we're getting there. I'll talk about it. But Maxine wakes up and
screams bloody murder.
And
as she should.
We get this really funny shot of blonde lady.
Yeah,
Bobby. Was it Bobby Ann? I think it was Bobby Ann.
Something like that. Played by Brittany
She
Snow.
wakes up, she opens the door, and Pearl just walks by with this deadpan expression on her face, and she just goes, "Oh."
Yeah.
And she follows her outside after Maxine's like, "That old lady was touching me when I was sleeping."
Yeah.
And she follows her out to the pond, and they have like this fucking dialogue exchange. Is so funny because she's like, "Hey, miss, you want me to help you? I can get you back up to the house." And like the lady's just like accusing her of flaunting her tits and stuff.
Yeah.
And it just kind of leads to this little bickering. And I think the last thing that Bobby says that like pushes her over the edge, she says something like to the tune of like, "It's not my fault that you didn't live the life you wanted."
Yeah.
And then Pearl pushes her into the water, and she just goes, "Bitch." And then Chekhov's gator springs into the action and gives her the death roll. So that was pretty baller. That was pretty metal.
That was pretty metal.
This movie really is just kill tension after RJ's death, pretty much.
Yeah.
But that then leads into Maxine seeing both of them reunite, and they're starting to walk toward the cabin.
Right.
Toward her.
Yeah.
So she has the bright idea to go try and get into the truck.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, keys are gone, tires are slashed.
Well, no, she hides under the bed.
Well, then she hides under the bed, I thought. No,
she hides under the bed
Why'd
first.
she go to the bed first?
She doesn't have enough time to run out of the cabin to try to find somewhere to hide, so she hides under the bed. And that's when they come in.
My brain kind of, I think I might have zoned for a second. I thought somehow they ended up back in the house.
No.
So yeah.
And
you have to watch them fuck.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But hey, you're the problem if you think it's gross. Like
so that's where we get this really cool scene of her like pulling herself, like she's crawling on the floor, pulling herself out from under the bed, and like freaking crawling on her elbows to get out the door, and she runs to the truck to try to get out of there, and the tire is flat.
Tire is flat, keys are gone. And then she starts hearing Lorraine screaming, Jenna Ortega screaming.
Yeah, so she goes to get her.
And she helps her out. And then Jenna Ortega, she's panicked. Adrenaline is high.
Yeah.
She's just basically like, "I hate you. This is all your fault." Which, like, no, it isn't.
No, where did that even come from?
If anything, if it's anyone's fault that's besides, the people murdering people,
it
would be Wayne's fault. Like, but she runs out the door. It just gets fucking blasted in the face with a shotgun out of nowhere.
Flying.
And this is where I say that they weren't trying to save her per se. You hear Pearl say, you hear Howard say like something along the lines of like, it's like, "Oh, God damn it, we needed that one." And then like Pearl says, "We don't need her anymore, Howard. We have each other now," because they just fucked,
Yeah.
So they needed her for sexual purposes, I guess.
Oh, so my original theory of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Sure.
Yeah.
But Howard just has a heart attack. Like as soon as they walk in,
because
you're trying to drag her inside.
well, no, it's they had said this earlier because Pearl tries to have sex with Howard earlier in the movie, and he says, we can't, my heart.
Well, yeah, they established the heart problem.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, they did have sex, no problem. And then, like, it's just kind of like, is it on a delayed trigger? Was it the exertion from dragging a woman's body?
I think it was the exertion from the sex and stuff. He just wasn't, fully over it all.
Yeah. But yeah, so
boom.
he just kind of has a heart attack and dies.
Yeah.
And Maxine comes out with the glove box gun because she grabbed that when she was in the car. And she's just like, I love this scene, just like, you, where the fucking keys? Like, and Pearl's like, he's having a heart attack. And she's like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of defense is that? Like, but they're screaming at each other, and then Maxine decides to pull the trigger, and there's no bullets.
Yeah.
But you're thinking you're gonna get like more like chasing or more suspense after this. But Pearl picks up the gun.
Well, before we get there, when Mia Goth is pointing the gun at also Mia Goth, so Mia Goth at Pearl, she does have a little bit of a monologue, like, I'm a star. I'm gonna be a star. I get to live my life how I want. All this stuff,
and it's kind of mirroring the TV evangelicist on the television.
Yes, and it is specifically meant. Not that she knows that she's doing it, but it is specifically meant to piss Pearl the hell off.
Yeah.
Because while we haven't covered the prequel yet, and while I haven't seen the prequel yet, I have watched the trailers to that one. And I know Pearl's whole thing, the only thing she ever wanted in life was to be a star. So Maxine saying, I'm a star, I get to live the life I want, really pisses Pearl the hell off.
Mm-hmm.
So when she finishes her whole monologue and then tries to shoot her and it doesn't work, Pearl's like, well, fuck you, you're dead. Like,
so she picks up the double barrel.
Yeah.
And you're thinking like, okay, we're going to get more like suspense, more chase scene, more something.
Nope.
She misses, and the recoil flings her back through the door onto the road, onto the driveway. It's so hilarious, and so it doesn't make sense. Don't get me wrong, but I don't care. It's just so funny, so it's okay.
I think though it's the way this movie breaks tension with humor.
Yeah.
It does such a good job.
It does a really good job. But Maxine, looking all badass, just gets into Howard's truck, and Pearl's still on the ground like, you whore.
Yeah.
You're nothing, you whore. Like,
yeah.
And
also the TV evangelicalist.
That's what I
that
call
thing flings back,
divine intervention. The
Hilarious.
TV evangelist is going on throughout the entire movie.
Yes.
Like, he keeps appearing.
Well, because he's important.
He is important because Maxine drives away, and
first she
drives away over Pearl's skull.
She backs up, runs over Pearl's head on purpose.
And it is the most wonderful watermelon-esque pop.
Oh,
like, you can see like the top of her skull with the hair still attached, like roll a little bit further. But then we cut back to the cops from the beginning, looking at the crime scene.
No, it's just the evangelicals.
No, that was going on while they were going through the house.
Oh, that's right. Well, first she drives down the road and does a little coke before that.
Oh yeah, semantics.
I just thought it was important to point out.
Okay. But they it does, as the cops are like going through the house, the evangelist is still on, and this is when we get the reveal. This is my daughter, Maxine, and it's her.
Yeah.
It's like such a
yeah. That leads
that
nowhere.
was her dad the whole time.
It leads nowhere.
It's like, and we pray that one day she'll come home, and it's like, no, she won't. But I do love the last line of this movie. He's like, we found this camera. Any idea what you think might be on it? The sheriff just goes, by the looks of this place, one goddamn fucked up horror picture.
Yeah.
And then cut to title card X.
Yes. And fantastic ending to a movie.
No, it's great.
This movie was so perfectly like
Balanced.
Balanced. Exactly.
Because it still maintains that kind of over-the-top nature of like a slasher movie, while still being a bit more grounded.
Yes. And even the slow burn part, like, I was anxious, but I got bored and tired of Psycho.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, when are we going to get to the horror movie part? Because, like, this is boring. But it still maintains, like, such an interesting plot to begin with, and in that the whole beginning part, you're so interested in the characters,
Yeah,
that it makes the later horror slasher part more effective, honestly, because you actually gave a shit.
Because I think that's what a lot of slasher movies, especially in like the 80s, miss, is making you not want characters to die.
Yeah, for sure.
Because even though that these aren't like the greatest human beings, they're still like decent folk,
Yeah.
They're not like cartoonishly flawed.
Yeah. And I think I know you said it pulls a lot from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I really do agree with you, where I feel like the setting and like the feeling of it.
Yeah.
But once we get to they're singing that song in that guest house and everyone's sleeping together, there's a whole bunch of sex. It feels like a Friday the 13th or a Halloween or a 80s type slasher movie.
And we're right on the border. It's 79, so.
Yeah, so it feels like,
or it takes place in 79,
right,
obviously, but that's
where I feel like I like how this movie is very much its own, but you can really sense the inspiration without pulling away from the movie. Because once they were singing like Fleetwood Mac, I was like, this is the Kumbaya moment. We're at camp.
We're at camp.
Everyone's gonna die at camp.
Oh God. But
so yeah,
this movie is good.
I think it's a good movie.
And I can't wait to watch the other ones.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to watch Maxine. I'm really excited. Because I feel like, because I don't know what Pearl's going to look like. But I feel like this is one of those, if from what I've seen from the little bits I've seen from Maxine, that one gives like a more new age slasher kind of vibe. More, 90s, early 2000s kind of,
around
but
there.
Still on the like more serious side. But it feels like kind of, how Fear Street did like the different, that's what it feels like this is doing.
Just a bit more intensive on the style.
It still focuses more on the plot line and like being its own movie, but it's very much like, I feel like this movie's drawing from these early influences, while Maxine is going to draw on these later influences, and they're going to reflect those.
Yeah.
Without being like, this is Fear Street taking place in this year, and so it's going to do this style of horror movie. Like,
womp womp.
Yeah. But overall, very good movie. thank God we watched this. Chucky was getting so tiresome. I feel a newfound love for horror. Yeah.
I'm sorry I killed your love of horror.
No, you didn't. But I was like kind of getting tired of it. Chucky was a lot of the same thing.
Yeah.
Over and over again. But yeah. So that was X.
That was X.
We did it.
I don't know what to say anymore.
Well,
discord.gg/Jumperscape. What?
Are you not going to pull up Q&A?
I forgot.
Yeah. I was like, hold on a moment. Pause.
I mean, I didn't forget. I was discord.gg/Jumperscape. That's where you can get involved in the Q&A. See? Kyle wants to know what is a trope that should be done more. This is piggybacking off of last week.
We already did that.
Yeah, because we said what our favorites were. But I guess this is like which ones are not done enough. But if they're not done enough, then they're not a trope.
No, we did that because the question before.
No, we got what is something you get tired of in horror, and what is your favorite horror trope?
No, we did both. We did both of them last week.
Yeah, there's 3.
There were 3 piggybacks?
Yeah, there's the third one. I mark them as I answer them.
I know, but I thought we had done the piggybacks.
No, we did 2.
I remember talking about this last week.
Because it's very similar to the first question. The question before. Because the one is literally the one before is the last one we answered was what's your favorite horror trope? And then Kyle asked what trope should be done more.
Oh, okay. I thought we had already done that.
No.
Sorry.
But I think that's my answer though, is honestly, if it's a trope, it means it's done a lot. So I don't know if there's such thing. Maybe more period piece horror, especially like just when I say period piece, I don't mean like actual period piece. I mean like this. I like horror movies that take place in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
I love horror movies that take place in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I want to see...
If I have to deal with one more horror movie that has someone's iMessage pop up as an augmented reality pop up...
Oh my God.
It's so annoying.
Because I do like... I agree with you on that. Because I feel like these movies that take place in more... I feel like it's like an Americana horror piece.
Yeah.
It's
very American.
Is what I want to see more of, because I feel like it scratches an itch of ruining a perfect image that wasn't perfect in the first place. But like you always think of the 50s, 60s, 70s. It's like, oh, that's America when it was good.
Oh Lord,
it wasn't good then either though.
And Slipstream says, following up once again to Potassium, what's a horror trope that you guys think should be done less?
Didn't we already cover this too?
Isn't that the same as least favorite? Like
they got on a kick.
They did, because you want to know what? I'm just moving on. You know what the next question is? Kyle asks, following up with Slipstream again, what is a trope that is done just enough but not too much?
Yeah, I think I remember reading this and getting a kick out of it.
Guys, I don't know. Like at this point, you've burned out my trope thinking.
I don't have anything else more to talk about of the same thing.
I guess the phone ringing and no one being there.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. There's an answer. Bear would like to know, what are sounds from anything horror that have scared you? So sounds.
Specific sounds.
I think there's a lot. This is going to be really weird, but there's a lot of like horror TikTok sounds that like fill me with dread.
Yeah.
I can't think of any. Ooh, Cave 11 in Minecraft.
Specifically that I know it's a trend right now, but it still bothers me that, hello? Are you there? This is your mother. That sound with the hello? Are you there? This is your mother.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You haven't heard it before?
No.
My phone is dying.
While you're pulling up the sound, I will move on to the last question.
Okay.
Would the 1979 movie Alien be on your list to watch? Or would you do an episode of it, I should say? We saw Alien in theaters not too long ago.
Yeah, we've been meaning to cover it.
We've been meaning to cover it. Obviously, it's probably going to be next season because we're coming up on the finale.
Oh, yeah, really, yeah.
This is episode 22. So after this,
we
only 3
filmed
more.
the whole CW show at this point? That's crazy.
Yes.
We could have been, we're through a whole season of Supernatural.
They're that long?
22 episodes?
That's
yeah.
a long time. That's a long season of television.
Yeah, they're 22 to 28 episodes.
Jesus. Are they all an hour long?
No.
Oh.
No.
CW shows aren't an hour long?
No.
How long are they?
Like 20 minutes. They're
Oh.
TV shows.
Well, the shows I watch are an hour long.
Do you watch
40 minutes, technically.
Do you watch shows that were on TV or do you watch shows that are on streaming?
Breaking Bad.
Was it always an hour long?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Well, 40 minutes because commercials.
Okay. Well, these were 20 minutes because they were 30 counting commercials. So,
Well, I just assumed it was more of a drama, and usually dramas are longer.
CW shows would have about 22 to 28 episodes per season until streaming happened. Most TV shows had 22 to 28 episodes per season.
But I thought that was more of a sitcom kind of.
That was a
comedy
general thing for TV shows. And then streaming came along, and then they started making movies instead of TV shows. And now that's where you get the 8 episodes a season.
Yeah, I think I'm just so used to more like your AMC or HBO kind of runtimes.
Right, and those are like hour long. Those are movies. But like CW, like any classic TV station,
Fox,
yeah.
NBC.
CBS.
And the shows I watched on those were like South Park. So that's why I'm thinking like, oh yeah, 20 minutes, that's for cartoons.
No,
And sitcoms.
that's just regular TV. Because they would get a 30-minute slot, so they'd have to have like a 20-minute TV show with 10 minutes accounted for ads.
Well, my mistake.
Yeah.
So that's all we have for the Q&A today.
Yeah.
If you'd like to ask questions, please do so, because we need more. I want more questions. I like the questions we've been getting. Maybe not do giant chains of all the same question, but hey, that's what we're here for.
That's
is
just
to
a
answer
theory.
them anyway. If you would like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Jumperscape. And, you might be the patron of the month. I mean, the week. I keep saying of the month. It has a better ring to it, but I'm not doing that.
We're doing of the week.
Patron of the week. This week, it is, of course, Warm Appleswause
Woohoo!
out of Missouri. I don't know if he's from Missouri. But yes, thank you so much for listening. And to have a fun, spooky evening, stranger.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us this evening, stranger. If you enjoyed your time with us, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/Jumperscape or join the community at discord.gg/Jumperscape. We thank you for your listenership and hope you enjoyed.